where we need to be focused. Not on Trump, he's gone. And now I'm going to bring in Senator Amy Klobuchar. She was there, Minnesota. She was involved in a really powerful moment early in the morning that we got to see, and you may have missed because it was really early in the morning, but we watched it. But Senator, I appreciate what you did last night. I don't like what happened once you guys got back in there, but the decision to go back into the Capitol when I don't even know that we had any reasonable assurances that it was safe. I mean, we were finding out about explosive devices when you guys had already decided to go back in. Why did it matter so much to you guys to go back in last night after what had happened?
Because we could not let the domestic terrorists win. We could not let an angry, violent mob run our government, walk in there and think they could just stop everything in its tracks. And I know especially Senator Schumer felt so strongly about this as the incoming majority leader of the United States Senate, as did really all the leaders. And it was a unified belief that we must go back in there. So we really pushed the envelope so we could get back in there, so the American public could see, despite the horrific day we'd been through, that we were in there doing our jobs. And it's really two things. It's one, that you go back in there and take your rightful place. But secondly, we had to finish the job of declaring to the country that, in fact, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won that election. Mm-hmm. And there were people, as you point out, I was the one that took on Ted Cruz right before the Capitol security had been breached. And he was actually boasting about the fact in his argument that 40% of the public actually didn't trust the election. And I took it directly on and said, why do you think they don't trust the election? It was the exact Chris Cuomo argument, the argument you've been making for months, that you haven't been putting your head down and ignoring this and saying nothing can happen. We saw what happened, and it's because of the rhetoric, and they know better. And those were my words right before this started, including it's a Republican, it's a republic if we can keep it. Quoting some words that were at one point attributed to Benjamin Franklin, and it turned out to be a very good indicator of what was going to happen later in the night.
Yeah, monarchy or a republic if you can keep it, Dr. Franklin said. So you were at opposite ends of the spectrum last night. At the end, in the early morning, do we have the moment with the senator and the vice president? Okay, so Senator, obviously you know it because you lived it. But at the end of the proceedings, I want people to see what transpired between you and the Vice President, Mike Pence. There's Senator Klobuchar. There's Mike Pence. They're talking right now. And now Klobuchar tries to punch him in the face and misses and winds up hitting him in the fist. No, you fist bumped Vice President Mike Pence. Why and what did that mean to you?
Look, what I was saying, I disagree with so many things he's done, including, as you were saying, standing with this president. But the point is, at this moment, he was willing to read the results and declare Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were the president and vice president of the United States starting January 20th. I thought that was significant because, as you know, we have a huge part of the country, thanks to Donald Trump and his enablers, who don't actually believe that this has happened. They don't believe that they won the election. So I thought the fact that Pence stood up, as well as, could I say, my Republican colleagues who voted with us, 93 senators rejected these scurrilous claims and baseless objections together and spent the whole day together, including, by the way, the moment when Joe Biden gave remarks, and this hasn't been widely reported, and we were all shoved together in a room, and the minute Joe Biden came on, silence came over the room. The entire Senate watched his speech with respect and clapped at the end. That happened, Chris. So to me, these were moments that I will never forget, including at 3:30 in the morning when the only senators left were Senator Blunt and myself as the head of the Rules Committee, and then the vice president, and we walked over with those remaining ballot boxes after Josh Hawley's ridiculous objection in Pennsylvania had been outvoted, and we walked over to the House and were greeted by Speaker Pelosi, and we then finished the reading of the roll call, did our job, and declared the winner of the 2020 election. So as horrible as the day was, that moment was the moment you cherish for our democracy. Democracy prevailed.
Well, look, you took an amazing risk And I think the reward is there, because if you had not done it, if it had been deemed not safe or whatever, it would have really been an incentive to the wrong kinds of people. One other thing, and then I'm going to let you go, Senator. And again, you have my thanks as a citizen, all of you, for going back into that room. I don't know that I would have had the bravery to do it after something like that, so I thank you. But
Chris, could I just also mention there was staff had the presence of save the ballot boxes.
Yes.
They would have destroyed the boxes that contained the actual ballots. The electors from each state would have been destroyed by those criminals that came into the staff saved them, and the line police officers, despite all the investigation we're going to have to undertake on the lack of preparation, everything went wrong. There were police officers. That was the only reason we were able to go back there.
Yes.
It's because of people putting their lives at risk, and some of them severely injured, as you know.
Fair point. And everything that happened yesterday, you can't put everybody in the same bucket in any regard. But just one more thing. Trump is gone. He leaves. And now it looks like he was scared enough into submission. Good. But it's what remains. Hawley and Cruz, after the insurrection, stuck by an indefensible position that was done out of pure animus and self-interest. And it's dangerous, and they know it. And you have over 130 people just like them in the House. This isn't civil disagreement. This isn't a policy disagreement. These are people who willingly stood up and lied on the record after an insurrection. How do you work with people like that?
There's going to be a reckoning. And I will tell you that there are a whole lot of Republicans that cannot stand what these guys did, including conservative Republicans. They know that what they did here, they did it for their own short-term destiny, is what I called it last night. I talked about the fact that people aren't going to remember who we were 100 years from now. They're not going to remember who we were maybe 50 years from now, but they're going to remember what we did last night. And our job as U.S. senators is to not put our own short-term destiny out front. It's to put democracy's destiny out front. And basically, people answered the call made by many leaders in Congress, and they literally rebuked them in front of the country. No matter how many fists Josh Hawley put up in the air to those insurrectionists, that will not be forgotten now, because the nation has seen what happens when you not just enable Donald Trump, but you decide to use it for your own personal gain. I think they're going to have a major problem. They will have major problems in their own party, and they're also going to have issues in their own states.
I will never forget, and I hope the country learns a lesson from it and things are insisted upon to change. But Senator Klobuchar, you have my thanks for what you and all the others and the staff and the people who kept you safe. Thank you for putting us first.
Thanks, Chris.
God bless and be well.